like going back, the reason I'm so like passionate about Bobby is like that speech he gave when he endorsed Trump, right? What he said was, you know what? There's lots of issues that I may or may not agree with Trump on, right? And we heard some of those today: climate change, abortion. But you know what? Like, unless we stop letting them poison us through our food and our water, and if we let them continue to poison our discourse with censorship, like all these other issues are secondary. So like, please, man. And I got a strong whiff of like the John Cornyn's that were doing the bidding of Mike Pence, and right, like literally using the abortion people, the people who are passionate about it, as like an attempt to wedge. And the worst of it was the Democrats, like Shaheen from wherever the hell she's from, New Hampshire, right? Like going, oh yeah, well, I thought you were against abortion. And like some of the personal attacks were so disgusting. Cortez Masto, my senator in Nevada, right? Like her being like, how do you live with yourself? Like, you work for somebody. Like, you're not the president. You work for sometimes that means that they overrule you, and you don't. Well, their whole concept of like, well, what if the president asks you to do something that you're against? Like, well, I do serve at the pleasure of the president. I do work for him. Right, the idea, it's just crazy to me, like crazy.
I mean, Bobby did I feel like Bobby did a pretty good job. Hey, it's Callie Means. What's up, Callie? Thanks for all your hard work.
Hey, what's up? How we doing,
dude? Good. Thanks for all your hard work, man. Thanks for getting all this.
That's a great coalition here. Where's the broccoli?
This guy is like an absolute legend right now. I mean,
steak.
What are you eating?
Just steak. Just steak.
Great steak.
This is very good food for. I mean, of course, MAHA. But they got just pure steak. That's it.
MAHA throws the best parties.
100%. 100%. Who we got on here?
With Ian Carroll, Dustin Stockton, and 50,000 amazing people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we got to get Bobby confirmed. He crushed it today, and we got to keep spreading the vibes. I mean, we got to let the senators know there's a mandate here, and we're behind him. That is everything and what everyone's talking about here. We've got to keep the momentum up.
Hey, Callie, can I ask you one question while we got you here?
Sure.
Yes. Was there anything during the hearing today other than the journalists that you took photos of with their articles? Was there anything that surprised you or that was like totally from left field, or did it kind of run how you expected?
Yeah. It actually surprised me how little argument the Democrats tried to make. They did not try to argue the premise of Bobby's entire existence, which is that we're the sickest country in the developed world. And they actually just attacked him on baby onesies, and Elizabeth Warren just bizarrely excoriated him for suing pharma companies. So they didn't even try to make an argument. I did a count. The Democrats said the word measles 25 times. Measles. Before the measles vaccine in 1965, 500 Americans before the vaccine died a year. 500 died a year of measles. We have over 100 million people that have obesity, diabetes, heart disease. The Democrats did not say those words, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, one time. So they're claiming to care about health. They're claiming to care about children's health. They're not even talking about what's crippling our country. I think they're bankrupt on the idea of caring about children's health. And the thing that kind of offended me the most is they attacked Bobby's motivations. They said at some point he wants kids to die. I mean, it's just absurd. So I think Bobby held his own really well, and he needs to be confirmed. And the Republicans would be committing a grave disservice to voters who voted Bobby in to go against that will. So I think it was a really good day.
Amen.
Who are the senators that you think are still on the fence or still influenceable?
We want to be very positive. We don't want to be negative. I think Bill Cassidy, who's the influential chair of the Health Committee, has not made his statement. I think we just need to remind him of the incredible opportunity of the Bobby's nomination. Remind him that Bobby is committed to empowering great scientists to get to the bottom of why kids are getting sick. I don't think we need to do anything vindictive or anything angry, but Bill Cassidy would be one person to talk to, and then Susan Collins would be another.
It's
Give it up.
Fetterman
Give it up for
still
Callie.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We're gonna crush it. He's got to eat his
Thanks,
steak
Callie.
right now. Callie,
Thanks, guys.
fuck yeah.
Thanks for
Let's
offering,
go.
Callie.
Callie,
Yeah,
go.
I think that's such a good point that he raises about how they like attacked him on some really low, like demeaning, evil things to even talk about. Like, it's one thing to talk to like attack someone's political perspectives. It's even one thing to attack someone's like personal, like your personal traits. But they started attacking Bobby in ways that was like his, basically like insinuating that he wanted to kill people, that he wanted to do, like, it was really gross. And it all kind of revolved around being destructive to science too, where Bobby's like the most pro-science person in American politics in the last 20 years. And they are repeatedly trying to spin this he's anti-science narrative, which is, you know, a tale as old as his political career. So
I was going to ask about Fetterman, because the other thing I took away from the hearing today that really pissed me off is that the Democrat senators took advantage of Bobby's speech impediment over and over, which is like they lay this whole thing out, and then they, as soon as he would like have a gap in his speech, they just start talking over him. Like, no, we don't want people to hear what you're saying. And it was, I think about like all the extra accommodations that we made for Fetterman, right? Like all the way around. What's up, Bobby?
did we make concessions for Fetterman?
Yeah, he got to use like text to speak.
Is he retarded?
Well, he had a stroke.
Sorry, I'm being crass. Like, what's up with Fetterman? I don't know the story. I just know that he's a slob.
No, so he had a stroke like right before the election, like right before he won the seat, and was like relearning how to talk when he first entered the Senate.
I did not know that.
And had to use like text to speech to be able to like even function.
Sorry, Fetterman. I don't want to use the word retarded in conjunction with that. That shit sucks. I'm not trying to hate.
But I have heard that Fetterman's going to vote for Bobby, which
he better.
I think is great. But can we also for just a second talk about like what in the ever-loving Curb Your Enthusiasm happened to Bernie Sanders?
Dude, he got blackmailed. There's no other explanation other than that he got blackmailed, right?
Wait, who do you think blackmailed? Because I'm of the conspiracy that Children's HD blackmailed him because they probably sold 1 million onesies today. Maybe 2. Like, how many onesies do you think they sold today?
Justin, that is some heavy duty tinfoil.
That
just
is
to clarify for the audience, I
tinfoil.
want the audience to be clear on what Dustin just said. Dustin proposed that Children's Health Defense, Bobby's company, has blackmail on Bernie and forced him to point out the onesies to sell onesies.
First off, it's not Bobby's company. He founded the Mercury Project, which became Children's Health Defense, which he was the fearless leader of for a long time. And Bernie then gave an amazing promotion for the baby onesie, saying "unvaxxed, unafraid." And oh my gosh, like this is a prime example of Streisand effect.
It's like that was such a low blow to try to associate him with the company that he has nothing to do with anymore. He just like he used to have to do with it, right? And they're selling a onesie, which is a badass onesie that you should buy for your little kid. And they're trying to like associate that with like, Bobby, this is you. Like, it was weird.
Do you condemn the onesie? What?
Like, fuck
What
no,
am I
it's
watching
onesie.
right now?
Gosh, I just wish that we could have an alternate reality where imagine if you could have had today's hearing, but you could have like a button that you could press and hold that would flip you into the reality where Bobby doesn't have to give a shit and he can just be like, yeah, because vaccines are a fucking joke, guys, because it's a fucking lie and you're all criminals, go to jail. Like, I wish that we weren't playing politics and he could just be unleashed and we could just like.
Yeah, that was one of the frustrating issues was like when Bobby was like, I'm pro-vaccine. And it's like, oh God, Bobby, like, you know, I get it. We need to say that, but like, you know, we're pro like safe, tested, no unlimited indemnity from liability vaccines. Like, let's let the science. And it was nice to see. It was nice to see as well one of the other Republican senators being like talking about scientists. I'm a doctor and I believe in science. And that was kind of an affirming point.
I think he made some sort of comment like all the doctors in all the doctors in the hearing were all pro RFK. And all the fucking
Bill Cassidy sus.
Yeah.
Right. Like he went to like hard questions about the numbers on Medicaid. I
don't remember his.
What was really frustrating to me, and I think this right, and I hate to do this, but like what I came away with was an argument about process. Right? Like at the end of the day, I've watched Bobby on so many long form podcasts with in-depth discussions at length, like deep diving into the info. And this format does not lend to it. And what we got was they would take like 2 sentences out of like a 4-hour podcast.
Bingo.
And be like, how do you defend this thing you said? And then like, you have yes or no. Yes. He's like, yes or no. Like, you what? And so to me, it speaks to like these hearings like really aren't much more than just like, does this person have the ability to have a bunch of shrieking shrews screech at them without losing their cool for like, hours on end? And other than that, like, I didn't learn anything today. Did you learn anything today, Ian? Was there anything in the hearing today that you didn't know?
Fuck no. No. Although there is a commenter, I just want to quickly mention, there's a commenter, Loney Anders, saying plane crash in DC hit helicopter. I would like some details, please. Hey, I recognize that face. What's up, homies? It's kind of cool having Kyle walking around the venue saying hi to the homies while we're doing a podcast. It's kind of
right.
Cool.
We get to be home.
It's kind of
all the work.
I like it. So real quick, I'm going to type that into my Google search bar and see if I can find anything about plane.
By the way, I just had something come across my feed too. So John Cornyn, his X account just launched a Solana shitcoin called USA. We're assuming he was hacked because that Ozempic face idiot, there's no like he launched his own token called USA. No way. Betting on hack. But
you don't think so? Do you think it's a hack?
Yeah. So well, he's narcissistic enough. He will have launched like the Cornyn token, right? Like Corn Daddy or something. Woo!
Hey Kyle, what event are you at right now, Kyle? Just so the audience knows, you're in.
For everyone to know, I'm in the basement of the Hyatt Regency for the MAHA AV Pack celebration event. MAHA Alliance and American values through the entire course of the campaign have been amazing at bringing together incredible people, setting containers for discussion, collaboration, and creation. And this is a night of, honestly, celebration. Bobby, again, just crushed it. And so we've got all like these incredible people, like Kelly Means earlier, and there's Dell earlier. There's so many people. And I'm here. I'm going to walk around, but I'm going to have us on mic, and I want you guys just to roll. But let's just kind of pop in on people if that's not too distracting.
100%. Real quick, could we bring my shared screen up on? I just want to point out real quick. So we have live news coming in the chat that a plane has just hit a helicopter. So obviously I search it on your typical search engine. And what do you know? Mainstream media has no mention of it because it's mainstream media and they're too fucking slow. Whereas when you go to X and you type in plane hits helicopter, the first hit is the breaking news from 18 minutes ago from Nick Sordar. We don't need to go into it because it's not a breaking news podcast by any, like, we're not trying to talk about breaking news. We don't give a shit. There's a lot. You can go watch Benny Johnson all day long. He'll talk like the Energizer Bunny for hours for you. But it's just kind of cool that X has the news and the mainstream media can get fucked.
Actually, it's funny. So I'm using Starlink got my Starlink today.
Yeah,
so,
dude. Did you get the new miniature Starlink or did you get like the full kind of old school
got the big daddy Starlink?
Yeah, I travel with. I have a whole Starlink set up in my van for whenever I get to an Airbnb that has shitty internet.
Hi, Jessica.
How you doing, Jessica? I've got so much FOMO right now, Kyle. You're with all the homies, and I just spent all day driving across the desert.
I love that Kyle just walks around with a random piece of vegetable or fruit everywhere he goes.
And no one's surprised.
Right? Like, today my microphone's a
Breaking news. A plane crashed into a helicopter at Reagan Airport. And that was Jessica Reed Krause, who's like one of the, let's call her great commentarians. And so now we're delivering late breaking news in this nouveau fashion right now. So
go real quickly while we're here. While Jessica Krause was just on the stream for a second, can we just this is random, but I just want to point out how cool. So Jessica's story, House and Habit's story. If you're not familiar with House and Habit, it's a story worth looking into. Just her rise and where she came from and what she did.
So I guess Jessica's gonna come say hi.
If you want to, yeah. It's just so cool how she's so enigmatic of like the MAHA media space of this, like, people want real people to tell them what's going on. And so this real person got interested in these court cases and just went and started watching them and reporting on them. And that like just genuine like human sharing of the truth, that skyrocketed her to being one of the most influential journalists in America. And that's so badass. Like, it's just so cool that today, and I mean, I'm an example of this too, of someone who just like was a regular person that wanted to understand what was going on and started doing research and sharing whatever my thing was. And it's like, that is the new media. We should talk about actually here. Jessica might have some words on it. Jessica, I heard that Jessica, if you can hear me, I heard that you applied for White House credentials. Is that true?
That I would what?
Did you apply for White House credentials?
Oh, not yet. I'm going to. Don't you
actually want to?
Ian, I think you should as well.
I don't
Ian, let's
fucking
go.
want that. I don't want that. I don't like. So real quick, I have a question. If suppose I apply for those White House credentials and I'm given them, is that like? It feels to me like the kind of thing where I have to basically move to DC and be in DC.
So that's what I'm wondering too.
Awesome.
Like, can we just like pop in and make appearances, or do we have to live there and go to everything?
Yes, you could pop in and make it. No.
Okay, I'll apply.
Like Tom Homan doesn't chase you around and make sure that you're at the White House press briefing every day.
That's what I'm worried about.
And I think we just go for like the party points, like when something fun's going on.
Fun.
Right?
And we could play like good cop, bad cop, and just like tinfoil, you know.
Yeah.
I would have a hard time not getting
credentials.
Cool. You heard it here first, folks. I will apply for credentials.
So wait, what scoops you got for us, Jessica?
Oh God.
What's the latest?
What's the latest? Let's see.
Were you in the hearing today?
I was. It was.
Other than like overwhelming
front row
rage,
seat.
What's your vibe?
The vibe?
Your vibe, yeah. How'd you feel about it?
I mean, it's like political theater at its greatest, you know?
Yeah.
The hecklers getting carried out. They had signs that say like, Bobby kills children or something. What did it say? Like, it was hilarious. And then we got in trouble for clapping too loud, too much enthusiasm. Bernie Sanders is a walking meme. He's just like, Bernie Sanders is hilarious doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing?
Do you know how many onesies children's HD sold?
Yeah,
but
that's
tomorrow,
a stat I want to know.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be in Tulsi's hearing, so that's going to be intense too.
I mean, really, it sounds like Tulsi's hearing is going to be the most intense.
That's what everyone's predicting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the Bobby hearing, they just threw all the same stuff.
It was
we had a year and a half of campaign dealing with mainstream media, pharmacy shills, like throwing all that. The only like nouveau thing was, Caroline Kennedy has said he mutilates.
He's a predator who mutilates.
Yeah, but they didn't even have him like discarding bear carcasses or anything. It was so lackluster.
There was no brain worm.
They had nothing creative. It was actually a disappointment.
Yeah, we didn't get brain worm today. That's a
There was no sex scandals, no brain worms, no decapitated whales.
I mean,
Hi.
to be fair, Jessica, you might know these rumors too. I was under the impression we were going to have significantly more Bobby sex scandals on the campaign trail.
That's why I showed up.
Right? And then we didn't get any more Bobby sex scandals. There was no like salacious pictures. There was no weird like. I was told on relatively good authority that we the American people were going to get some pretty salacious Bobby content on the way to the White House, and we never did. So
I heard
don't know if
that
that's
same
like a
stuff.
kudos to Bobby or what. But.
I thought this was going to be the grand reveal. I'm like, everybody brace yourselves. The pictures are coming, but nope.
Nope.
Yeah,
Instead.
we still have 2 days.
Of course.
All right, everybody, give it up for
Thanks for coming,
Jessica
Jessica.
Reed
Good to see
Cross. Follow House and Habit.
Get your press credentials, Ian. I'll see you there.
Heard
Bye.
that.
Oh my gosh, that'll be the best.
That would be pretty good. We could coordinate a day when all the alternative media people went into
Dude,
the press
Alex
conference.
Jones is gonna get his press credentials.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, guys.
Oh yeah, baby.
Jen applied for hers. We'll have a good crew.
Let's go.
By the way, shout out to Patriot award-winning journalist, my longtime friend Matt Boyle, for getting the first question. The
Oh, hell
press
yeah.
briefings.
And real quick, while we're on the topic, can we talk about Carolyn Levitt and her first press conference? Because it was pretty badass. Like, she crushed it. The woman is not even 30, right? She's 27. And she crushed it. She totally crushed it. Am I wrong?
I thought it was very strong.
Yeah, I'm coming from the left. Like, so just to be clear, during 2016, I didn't vote. I was out of the country, but I was not a Trump supporter during his first presidency. I was like I was mostly like a liberal. And so I was like watching his press secretaries and making fun of them with my friends. And like my parents and me, like when we would get together, we would talk about how shitty his people were. And so like, I'm not just on the Trump press secretary bandwagon, but like Carol, she came out there, she crushed. She totally crushed. Am I wrong?
I mean, listen, I was a fan. She was like a nice mix of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, right? And like maybe like a Dana Perino, but like really, really strong. But I saw your post earlier because I promised this to some people that would come with some receipts tonight. How much money is Elizabeth Warren? Right? She was like $2.5 million, Bobby.
Yep.
Well, 2.5 million. How much is she taking in from pharma?
Is this a question? Because I actually have an answer. Do you have an answer?
I saw 5.2, but I figured you'd have the like better receipts.
I mean, so off the top, like just so I took screenshots today. Just to source this data, so everyone knows. I got screenshots from today. I took from Open Secrets, and all I did is I went to Open Secrets and I went to Elizabeth Warren's top contributors by industry, right? And so when you do Elizabeth Warren's top contributors by industry, there's a whole bunch of them. Top is retired, whatever that means, education, civil servants, lawyers. The 5th is healthcare professionals with 2.5 million almost. The 11th is hospitals and nursing homes with 1.6 million. The 17th, miscellaneous health with 500,000. And then 18th is pharmaceuticals and health products with 500,000. So when you add all that up, that is 2.5. That's $5 million on the list from those industries in Open Secrets. I mean, it's always like sourcing these numbers is kind of neither here nor there. It's hard to have an exact figure that's for sure right. But she's taken millions and millions of dollars from the various arms of the health industry. So fuck that shit.
And they should pay her more. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Like that PAC money is coming in big this time. You can believe that. It's going to be over the top. But
the amount of public humiliation that they're putting themselves through for that PAC money, it's pretty great. It's wild.
It's hard to imagine being worse than I was surprised because Ron Wyden's actually really good on like free speech issues.
Who is?
Senator Facelift from Oregon.
Do you say Ron Wyden?
Yeah. So like he on censorship and First Amendment stuff, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? But he was a train wreck today.
Yeah, it was awful. He was near the end, right? Am I getting that right?
He went first and last.
Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah.
He's the ranking member, but he was terrible.
The ranking shill.
I feel like Jessica's judging me. Like as I sit here and smoke. I think that's what
Jessica's job is to
Jessica doesn't judge.
Jessica doesn't judge.
Jessica's job is to judge the world and to report comedically and perceptively upon it. Dustin, you're in good hands. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Dustin, you're safe.
Yeah, you're
I'm just listening. I'm actually trying to hear what you guys. I'm interested in what everybody's talking.
Can we get a couple clips, Cheney, of like some of the interactions from today? Because I was hoping that we'd be able to just have a little bit of playback.
Let's do a little
some
reaction.
of the action.
Yeah, some of the best clips from today.
Mm-hmm.
Pocahontas.
Because there was some gold. There was some gold in
Pocahontas. First off, where did Pocahontas come from, Dustin?
So, Elizabeth Warren.
Wait, hold on. Let me record you. This is too good. Are you going to give an explanation?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so Elizabeth Warren was listed as the first minority professor at Harvard University. She got in and represented.
Wait. Do you know what year this was in? Like relatively recently, right? Like in the last 20 years?
The last 20 years or so.
So that's the first time that Harvard's ever had a minority professor.
It may have been 30 years. And it may be that she was the first like Native American professor.
Yeah.
So, but not just like, oh yeah, like, right. Like I checked the box. She wrote a book called Pow Wow Chow, like, and distributed it to the rest of the staff. Like this is a true story. And Donald Trump called her out on it. Like before he was president, when he was just like internet troll of all time. And like just started calling it Pocahontas. You can't believe it. She doesn't look Native American to me. And like got so in her head, he offered to give her $1 million if she took a DNA test. So she did it.
I remember that.
Right? So she takes the DNA test and then she posts the results like she had won. But it turns out she is 1,064th Native American. Like maybe some like distant cousin somewhere's great uncle like was part of a tribe at some point. And then when she went to collect the money, Trump's like, no, I'm not paying her.
So, can we share my screen onto the stream right now? I want to see if this is the book that you're referring to. Is that the cover of the book you're referring to by chance?
That's it.
It's not, right?
No, I think that's it.
Is it? Because if it is, so I don't know if it is or not. It's hilarious if it is, because when you go look at that book on Amazon, it's from an unknown author. Which would be too good. Just even if we're wrong about this, just think about how funny it is if this were Elizabeth Warren's book and it is now under the unknown author category. Is just like
wait. When you zoom in, what's it say? Like, isn't that the author's name on it?
Ready to something.
It does.
Pow Wow Chow.
Elizabeth Warren.
It looks very Straganona.
That is a beautiful tale to tell. I'm so glad you just shared that with everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that.
It is.
I didn't know that either.
So circling shut, Pocahontas is now Elizabeth Warren's nickname, because I kept seeing that popping up.
Oh, well, Trump coined that during his first term, right? Like Trump came up with Pocahontas and he went hard on Pocahontas. He didn't give a shit. And so like here's and maybe I'm the only one in here, but like I used to be a liberal who was in my parents growing up were pro Elizabeth Warren. And so I was raised with this like pro Elizabeth Warren stance. And so somewhere in my mid 20s, in my late 20s, because I would never I didn't pay any fucking attention. I'd never seen Elizabeth Warren talk, but at some point I turned on a TV for the first time and watched Elizabeth Warren say this kind of shit and was just like, what? And she's supposed to be like, from the left's perspective, she's like the paragon of like holding the like powerful to account and saying the hard stuff and like being real and raw. And lying about being. And okay, so real quick, Dustin, you didn't even finish the story. Elizabeth Warren had that whole thing with the book and the DNA test, but then she also dressed up in like ceremonial native garb for whatever the holiday was, right? Like, can we find photos of Elizabeth Warren?
No, like she fully owned the fact, right? Like, I am the first Harvard Native American. Like,
She was like leaning into it. This was not a small trend. It was not a little joke.
And think about it. She took a position, right? Literally like an affirmative action position from a real fucking Native American.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, it's so perfectly emblematic of like the establishment left. And the funny thing about Elizabeth Warren, so she's known as like the financial like protector, like the modern coming of Ralph Nader, who's like gonna hold the banks to account. And I learned the hard way because like my big thing when I got into politics was is boring is like I want to invite investment and depositor banks again and bring back Glass-Steagall, right? Just like super nerdy. And everyone's like, oh, dude, you got to talk to Elizabeth Warren. So I went and met with her in her office and was like, oh my God, she's retarded. like she's not very smart, right? And she has zero like comprehension of the issues at all. And what I've learned since is that she's like the left's version of Jim Jordan, which is like
that's a good analogy, bro. That's a super good analogy,
right? She's great at going on Rachel Maddow and being like, the Republicans, the banks are bad. Right, and there's
sound bites that make the left think she's super like, oh, she's so fucking based, she's the shit.
Yeah,
she like really so grilled that guy.
But then on every single vote, she's like, "What can I do for you, Mr. Wall Street? I'd love to cast that vote for you."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. So I was wondering why I couldn't find the photo I was thinking of, and it's because the photos that I'm thinking of are actually not Elizabeth Warren. It's actually Nancy Pelosi dressing up in whatever that African clothing was.
Oh, I knew you were thinking of that.
Yeah, there's like no shortage of just retarded ideas on behalf of our Senate. It wasn't just her too; it was a whole bunch of our senators. But I was getting confused. It wasn't Elizabeth Warren showing up to the Senate in like a Hopi headdress or anything like that. So sorry for spreading misinformation.
I also want to say, like, so Sheldon Whitehouse to me, that was the most ridiculous of them all. Like, I need to hear you say that you support forced mandatory vaccination.
Yeah.
Shut your ever-loving mouth. But then he also blamed Bobby for the fact that there's a measles case in Rhode Island. I don't know, maybe we should blame the flood of illegal aliens that came in under Biden for bringing like those diseases back from their countries. Like not the guy who's like, I don't know, maybe we should look at vaccines and like medicine.
Or literally one case. Like one case. Like all it takes is one doctor to say one case and Bobby Kennedy, this is proof that somehow you're to blame.
During his whole speech too, he had a sentence that was something to the effect of like, the American people are worried about measles. And I was just like, no, fucking not. Like, I don't give a shit.
Nobody's thought about measles in so long. Nobody thinks.
Like,
it never comes up.
No.
Not on lunch dates. Nobody talks about measles.
I would be willing to make a bet that people, maybe like 25 and under, I'd bet that more than 50% of them don't even know what measles is. Like they don't know what the symptoms are. They don't know where it comes from, how you
I don't.
I mean, what is measles? Is it chicken pox?
It's related to chicken pox, is my understanding.
Bumps?
It's like a bunch of sores. It looks a lot like chicken pox. It's basically just like a whole bunch of like sores all over your body.
Shingles, like leprosy.
Yeah. My understanding is that shingles is a different word for measles, but maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe we're all exposing
shingles are painful. It is painful then.
Yeah. Well, and as parents, we've seen all sorts of things. Like, we see as parents, you see all sorts of things. But guess what? We heal. Like our bodies, our vessels, our beautiful sacred beings that know how to deal with these things And we're not living in pre-sanitation times, that we have toilets and sanitation systems and unbelievable medicine and unbelievable knowledge, that this notion of like, just take the jab and that's the solution to all our woes. Fuck that.
Yeah. Real quickly, while we're on the topic of the jab, let's just take a moment. We've got a shout out to 100,000 people watching this stream live right now. And I just want to give us all the 60-second rundown of why they love vaccines so much. Before vaccines, you're only treating sick people. Once they discovered vaccines, they are treating everyone. So that's a profit multiplier of like 100x at least, because like usually it's 1 out of 100 or less people get sick. It's like not very many people get sick. So the moment that you're treating everyone, that's a huge amount of profit. But then it also has this woke sort of like collectivist mindset thing built into the concept that everyone needs to get it for it to work properly, which is extremely enticing to an authoritarian-minded, leftist, socialist class of people that want control. And so it's no wonder that they are coming out so hard after vaccines specifically, not after Ozempic and not after ivermectin and not like, yeah, all these other things too. But like vaccines hold a unique position. And I just reposted something the other day about them vaccinating animals with mRNA technology. That is a huge space that people need to be aware of and talk about, because vaccination of animals is, I'm no expert.
All right, let's say goodbye. Let's quickly say goodbye to Jessica.
I left my party for you guys, but I don't regret it. Love you.
You're the best.
You should
She's
become
gonna be
one of our people on the MAHA
She
podcast.
is invited on Wednesdays.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah,
So
no,
be here.
Bye.
All right.
I'll be in touch.
Bye, boys.
Later.
Dude.
Yeah, so the whole vaccine thing is like, it's not an accident, and vaccines are a very unique part of the story that has very unique properties, not just monetarily, not just chemically and like scientifically, but also socially and culturally and info-warily. So like there's many reasons why the vaccines are the last, like that's their thing they need to defend for forever. And they're on this razor's edge that they've kind of accidentally walked themselves onto, of it being about the science, because vaccines are a very science-based concept and they are real and they do work when working, like when properly tested, properly manufactured, like, you know, there's a place for them. But the concept of a vaccine is this concept of like, it's sort of this like ultimate scientific model in the healthcare field, because you need everyone to get it for it to work. And it sort of has this like bandwagon built into it that is
herd immunity, Ian.
Well, herd immunity is a whole different thing, man. Herd immunity is when I just hang out and get COVID on my own. I'm like sick. Now I'm good, which is exactly what I did.
Well,
herd immunity works.
I do want to say one of the things.
Shout out to EMF. They are all poisoned by design. It's true. Fuck vaccines.
No, 100%. And I just want to say, this isn't even like I question regular vaccines. The COVID vaccine is not a freaking vaccine.
It is an mRNA technology.
That we've ever had a vaccine ever before, it would not fit the definition, right? They had to expound the definition of vaccines to allow for the mRNA, which I think is really problematic. Because we could talk about the Sam Altman craziness. I think we talked about it last week. Yeah. But the other thing, I thought maybe Bobby's strongest moment today, right? And that it was so on point. It was with Cortez Masto and on school shootings and antidepressants, SSRIs.
Yeah, I had a big bone to pick with this one.
Right. So like that. So this is something that like I've done some, right? Like it would make sense that people who are crazy enough to go shoot a bunch of random kids in a school, like probably had mental issues. And when you look at like, and Bobby crushed this answer. So she goes, you have said that there might be a connection between antidepressants and school shooting. That is not true. The science says that's not true. He's like, you don't know that. Like, we have not been allowed to study the link because pharma claims that like the shooters have HIPAA and that like they can't pass the information, and we're not allowed to look at it. And so and he looked her right in the eyes. He said, there is no way that you know that. I don't know it either, but I think that's something maybe we should look into. Because
I was pretty frustrated that she got the last word into that segment. Because she was allowed, which is, the standard format, but it was like Bobby went, and then she was allowed to finish and cap it off by saying like, no, I do know, and I'm right, and you're wrong. Fuck you. It's like mental health has nothing to do with school shootings. It's like, fuck you, bitch. Like, that is the dumbest thing you could. Sorry, I'm being really vulgar tonight. That's just like the dumbest thing you could ever say.
Well, I'm glad I'm rubbing off on you because I swear.
So, Cheney, we're not able to hear the audio. I think you need to share.
Yeah, we only hear
sure
audio if you when you share. You have three options. One is share the whole screen, one is share the whole window, and one is share the tab. And you only hear the audio if you share the tab solo, which is super annoying for the producer. But no. Yeah, you got to reshare like when you go to like present at the bottom.
This should be a simple question.
I don't think anybody can answer that question, and I didn't answer that question. I said it.
So your answer is?
I said it should be studied along with other potential culprits, like
So they may cause
social media. But I don't know. I would never because there's no science on that.
Well,
Senator.
there is, Senator. There is, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you for the promotion.
The science shows that there. So, do you believe, as you've said, that antidepressants?
Dude, Bobby can be so fast sometimes. Oh man.
Then she was like, "Well, I've taken antidepressants and they work so good for me." So there.
Right.
So there.
Yeah,
I took an SSRI once, and I'm great.
Yep, no, it really helped me, and I did shoot a school, so therefore, there's no way that it could possibly be. But what's emblematic in that clip, right? Like the crazy thing in that.
Tina cuts her hair with a can opener.
Like that clutch, dude. The comments have been popping tonight.
Yeah,
you guys are
rocking on fire tonight. Everyone's on fire tonight. It's a good day,
right?
Yeah, it's a great day. And we've got, at the end of the episode, we've got an announcement to make about a contest we're launching too. So stay tuned till the end. Let's go.
So you're saying it could be? Like, yes, and his answer was on the box, like when you get them, it says could increase aggression and suicide. No, maybe we should, maybe, like school shooters, they tend to be aggressive and suicidal. Man.
Well, let's clarify a little bit here, because it's not just that on the box it says that it might cause depression, suicide, all these other suicidal tendencies, etc. They're required to put that on. That's called a black box. They're required to put that on because pharma full well knows that those are side effects. And I actually, a little anecdotal, but like I've been working in the background on a little sub project on SSRI specifically because I have a good friend who has this crazy story where he went on a robbery spree. He got prescribed SSRIs, and then it immediately it first, not all people, but certain people that are like that kind of brain, it can really float you into this sociopathic space where nothing matters, where it's like I don't give a shit. The world is what it is, and I'll do whatever I want. Like, I'm bored. What should we figure out how to do? And it was like immediately after he went on a robbery spree, like armed robberies. Like, he was just a normal dude who'd never committed a crime in his whole life. And then he was just like, oh, I can get away with that. That'd be fun. And he just started armed robberying like gas stations all across the state. And he has this whole like journey that he went on, and then went to prison and then figured out why he had done what he had done. And it's so indicative of this larger pattern where it's obviously a lot of people that take antidepressants are fine. Like, obviously antidepressants work okay for a lot of people, but for certain types of people, and this is why they have that label, that warning on the label, it's not that it like makes you depressed. It's that it takes away all the consequence-based thinking that regular humans do, of like, I'm not going to commit suicide because although I am depressed, my mom loves me and she'll be so sad if I die, right? That's consequence-based thinking. And SSRIs do away with like all that other shit, with all this like fear and consequence. And it turns you into this like, I mean, not obviously it affects everyone differently, but it's this huge issue that that is so glaringly obvious. The way I look at it is there money and power being pushed towards stopping us from talking about it? Yes. Is it like associated in a correlatory way, as in a lot of people that do school shootings are on SSRIs? Yes. Although it's hard to prove that because of like their HIPAA rights. And then is it like, does it just make sense? Like, obviously it makes sense. Like, duh. And so the pushback against talking about SSRIs is such a red flag for me that even if I didn't understand the mechanism by which SSRIs would make you do those things, I would still be suspicious and looking in that direction anyways. Because as much as they want to ban guns, I think they're more interested in not talking about SSRIs than they are in banning guns.
Well, I think we also have to speak to the dramatic and crazy over like prescribing of antidepressants, because and I think this is something that's interesting, right? The other that we just have to bring up, right, is that most of these Democrat senators and Republicans voted for a dude that like mutilated himself to become a woman because he thought, right? Like, well, Rachel Levine, the last HHS secretary, not really your.
Oh my gosh! Whoever came up with this right here, this is gold. I don't know where that came from, but that troll is
Chady on point. But
hey, Chady, while Kyle's not here, why don't you pull Kyle off the screen too and just have Dustin and I on until Kyle gets back?
There you go. Right, but think about that, because with antidepressants and with most health issues, most of them, not all, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there aren't use cases, can be solved with diet and exercise.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like straight up, if you changed how you eat and you got like active and like moved, stop being so sedentary, that would cure a huge portion of like the stuff that like people take pills for. And it's funny because I hadn't seen John Cornyn in a hearing in a long time. And right, remember, I've been going to Congress yelling at these idiots for like better part of 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like they hate bringing me in because I always lecture them about how terrible they are. I can't help myself. But he's got Ozempic face. Like 100%, that dude like was shrunk down, bone structure in the face is like deteriorated. Stop taking shortcuts.
A lot of that around here these days.
Right. And like, Ian, have you ever dealt with pharmacy reps?
Fuck no.
All right. So I used to pharmacy. So the pharmacies have an army of like really, really attractive, like men and women whose entire job is to run around to doctors, and they have big budgets to take them out for a very good time and introduce them to things that their patients like might be helped by.
Yeah.
And it is like one of the like shadiest practices like across the board, how these doctors get their information from the pharmacy reps. Like that, their ongoing continuing education comes from the same place of the people who are
Their original education comes from the same people too, because over time the medical industry has funded all of the schools. They fund all of the research grants. Like over time, it's hard to pinpoint and like show evidence of the whole thing all at once. But the more you dig into how the medical education system is funded and run, the more you realize that the whole thing is a revolving door of pharma money teaching young healthcare professionals how to practice healthcare, which is prescribing drugs, not underlying causes, not lifestyle, not actual health at all, right? It's just how to prescribe drugs in most instances. And then it's just this like revolving door of that same money wheel, just teaching our healthcare professionals to be shills. And then You see it in other industries too. Like I see it in the cosmetics industry all the time, where I'm talking, for example, about how sunscreen and benzene is not great to put on your skin. And then I've got like all these people that work in cosmetics coming after me, like, I'm an expert. I work for Johnson & Johnson. And like, this shit is totally safe. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. But you're a fucking shill because your education was paid for by Johnson & Johnson. And then you work for Johnson & Johnson. Your whole life, like your money, everything relies upon this system continuing.
Right. You cannot be objective when you're when you're entirely weird that all the studies come out like to favor the people who like write the grants and fund the entire thing.
Before we get off of SSRIs completely, I do want to spit a little really heavy duty tinfoil out for our audience and for you guys. Is like so when people look at SSRIs and they look at the school shooting and sort of mass shooting issue, it's easy to just get focused on profits. It's like it's profitable to keep people on SSRIs. They don't want to talk about SSRIs because they're making so much money off having everyone depressed and prescribing them SSRIs. But I genuinely am getting to the point where I think that MK Ultra and the CIA have a large stake in SSRIs beyond profit. The more I learn about the effects of SSRIs, the more that shit is exactly down the same line as like Manchurian candidates, like just weird shit happening to people. And I don't have any evidence of that. That is just tinfoil. But I'm coming to the belief that there's something else going on with SSRIs because of the type of behavior modification that they do to people, and because they are inherently prescribed to the perfect candidates for all sorts of black book operations, weird, sketchy shit. Is there already like loners, depressed people that are out on a limb, that are strung out, that have like weird psychologies already? Those are the people that are getting SSRIs, and SSRIs are deeply linked to like unleashing sort of psychotic behaviors because they're disconnecting you from these human emotions to keep you in check. Yeah, your inhibitions. So I think that the CIA is fucking dick deep in SSRIs.
No, so that we have had whistleblowers, by the way, that say that they recruit out of mental institutions, and like when people are in crisis and like have to go like to a mental institution, that there are recruitment, and people like they're looking for a very specific type of personality in order to run a program like MK Ultra, or literally just spin somebody up and then point them in a direction. I don't think you're far off there, Ian, like at all. Right. And I also think, right, so there's been some interesting things. Watch the water. No, that's a terrible Q reference. I'm sorry.
I don't know anything about what that was. I saw that Trump reposted it, but I don't know what the reference is.
I mean, I just saw a Q in the background.
So there's a lot of interesting things going on with Q. Not gonna lie, I could go.
There's a lot of shit going on. Like, there's definitely some shit going on. I don't know what's going on.
Pretty intense, but specifically with like the water supply and them finding like large amounts of these antidepressants in the municipal water supplies. Like, oh, it's just because it doesn't get processed in the treatment centers. But there is a whole another element.
Now we're talking tinfoil, bro. And that's what I'm talking about.
You want to put the tinfoil on. Like, what do you think they're spraying from the planes? And what do you think they're putting in the water in order to what? In order to make us like basically emasculate the men and to make us like just happy to exist and like cut our drive,
or rather slightly unhappy to exist, like a little uneasy, like a little like fucking weirded out. So we always are like angry and scared and on edge and shit.
Right. And then they feed that with the information loop, which is the craziest thing that I ever did for my mental health, like by far. So for a long time, I watched cable news, like especially early in my political career. Like I had like a diet of like cable news that I watched, so I was informed of what was going on. And then and then seriously, like one day I was like, I'm just going to like take a break from watching cable news for like a month. Like I'm not gonna watch any. And I came back after a month and I was like, wow, I've been way less agitated about everything. Like literally everything. And that, like, I'm a pretty happy dude overall, but like that was probably the most traumatic shift I've had in like just overall like general mood ever. And like I kept like going. Now I don't even have a TV, right? Like, I still watch some shows every once in a while, but very rarely. But that constant state of agitation plus the way they're drugging us up. I know people who are taking like 40 different pills, and like right often I'll be like, what is all this? And they'll be like, well, this is for my blood pressure, and this is for the side effects from the blood pressure, and then this is the side effects of the side effects of the blood. And I'm like, holy shit, they just are low. Like, you're not going to somebody to get healthy. They're literally like, let's load this boy up with some drugs. Ooh, this new expensive guy. And then at the same time, we have like the ivermectin stuff is like catching hold in a way that's like way overdue. Hydroxychloroquine, right? Won the Nobel Peace Prize in like 1955 because of its abilities in antiviral. And everywhere else in the world, you can buy it over the counter. And here, hydroxychloroquine. Oh, we have way more expensive drugs than that.
Yeah, we got patents for drugs that cost $1,000 a dose, bro. They kill you. They're not safe.
Well, they'll give you side. No, they won't kill you. Right? Their preference is right. They need to keep you in the middle. Like a dead patient doesn't pay, and a healthy patient doesn't pay. So they need to keep you like just sick enough that you like continue to consume like more and more and more. But what
blows my mind about it, Dustin, is that like we are, now that the conversation has started, right? Now that RFK started this conversation about chronic health and about drugs and food and poison, it's just so in everyone's faces, and there's no escaping it as a truth. And there's just no real defending taking 40 pills a day when you could be taking 2 or 0, right? And so there's this just inherent like yeah, modern medicine is wonderful, and yeah, some people need some of those pills for some of their shit, but we inherently all know deep down inside of our minds and souls that like you don't want to be the person on 40 pills a day. No one wants to be that person. And so there's really no attacking the MAHA angle other than straw men and ad hominems and deflection and distraction and just all this other bullshit. And it's kind of exciting to be in the driving seat of this move, like to be in this movement that is just like irreproachable, like come at us, bro. Like, what are you gonna fucking do?
Well, that's the thing with Bobby all day, right? Like,
yeah,
you're just getting healthy. Like figuring out ways to, like that we're not the fattest nation on earth. Like, let's get sexy again. You know what I'm saying? Like a healthy nation is a hot nation. And like Ian's on a mission to like make dating cool again. So like, you know, if there weren't so many fatties, it'd be good to go.
Hey, your words, not mine, bro.
Right. But the last thing I want to say on it, like really is, did you see the singer Ian? I had no idea who she was.
Oh, the really big one,
man.
The really big one.
No, not the fat rapper.
Okay, good, because I don't want to talk about that.
She won't fit.
I'll say something mean on accident.
No. So there was some other singer I didn't recognize her, but I never recognize singers because I'm old and I tell kids to get off my lawn and shit. But the very tearful video of her crying because she took Ozempic to lose weight. And now she has osteoporosis and osteo whateveris, and like her bone density is all effed up, and like it's gonna take her voice away.
I don't know what singer that is.
It's
sad.
just came across my feed. I can't remember what her name is. She has like pink hair and
well, I expect there'll be a lot more of them in the coming 5 years. That's the thing, is that we're in this cycle right now. It's really obvious with transgender stuff, but there's this cycle where like horrible ideas are brought about by whether it's the monetary incentives or the just cultural or like political incentives. These horrible ideas are either allowed to flourish or brought about for gain, whether it was like anorexia back in the 90s, or now it's like there's these ideas that are just bad ideas, like chopping your dick off. Not a good idea under almost every circumstance. And so you go through this phase where it catches on as this social contagion, but like inherently 5 years later, you're looking at thousands, hundreds of thousands of sort of victims of this concept, of this contagion, that are coming out the other end of it regretting it. And we're already seeing that with the trans movement, where there's like every year there's more and more people detransitioning and speaking out about how much transitioning ruined their lives. And we're going to see that same thing with Ozempic. We already see that with like all the health stuff in general, but Ozempic is particularly so because you like are literally poisoning yourself.
Well, there's always a price to pay when you think there's a shortcut, right? Like, and again, it gets back to, if you want to be healthier, like I promise you, right? If you change your diet up a little bit, you cut back on sugars, like specifically, right? Like, watch how quick I can do this. Reduce your sugar intake, increase your physical activity, and you will feel better. Now, I don't know if that will fix everything, right? And maybe you have other issues and stuff, but like if you do those things, regardless, you're going to feel better. Period. And I will say to the transgender stuff, dude, Trump on a tear, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
fucking outlawing childhood transgender care. Yes. Like, holy shit. Yes. Let's go.
So I watched this thing. I don't know how. I just happened to catch it like this afternoon. And it was a lesbian who was speaking at I think it was the Kansas City city council or something. Oh, no, I'm good. And she's like, yeah, you know what? I bought into the lie. I worked at a gender affirming care place. And right, because like I thought that this was how we were going to help people. And actually the suicide rate of people after they transition is so abnormal that, right? Like and that's what they use to claim they have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Like you are not, it's something insane, like 70%, bro.
Yeah.
Like 70%.
I'm not surprised. Like, it's just so easy to put yourself, like, so right now we have 150,000 people here hanging out. What's up, guys? Let's all do a thought experiment. Imagine you are single and you want to go out with a cute person, whether that's a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter your orientation. Suppose you want to go on a date, right? But imagine you want to go on a date, but every single time you want to go on a date, you have to have a conversation about how, like, I've actually like chopped this thing off down there and I've done this thing and there's this surgery and we can only do these certain. It's like, even if there was no social stigma, there was no complicated political stuff, there was no like mental health issues you have to worry about when someone's doing these things, even if it was just like the complications of like wanting to get it on with with someone you think is cute and having all this other shit to deal with and having to like, for example, when you want to go on a date as like a dude or a woman and you have to think about like explaining something like, oh, I can't eat that because I'm like allergic to lactose. That's like kind of embarrassing. Like, a lot of people are like embarrassed by that shit and try to avoid it, right? And so they have this whole like mental block around like going on a date is like, maybe imagine having that, but you cut your dick off and you have this like fake hole that doesn't work right. And you have all these. That is super depressing to think about, because suddenly for the whole rest of your life, every intimate partner that you ever want to be with, you have to deal with all this messed up, and I don't mean messed up like you're messed up. I mean, like, you have to deal with all these other contingencies that are not normal and not natural and have no, like,
that become all consuming.
Yeah.
Right. Like and the thing is, it is making permanent the confusion. And like
Bingo.
all of these people around you are like, oh yeah, fuck it. You could be like whatever body you want. Like we'll just like chop.
No, you can't.
Fucking shift. Get the fuck out of here with that stuff.
And that is not to mention, for example, the scenario I just gave, that's under the in the example where we're not even talking about that's assuming that everyone is still attracted to you. But like in real life, like try being a trans woman trying to date a man today, and try like, like I'm not interested. No, sorry, not interested. Like how big is the dating pool there, right? And so when you think of, so like for me, for example, I am a attractive, tall, like well-off, extremely lucky male. And like I have incredible dating options. I'm so fortunate. But even me, it's like, this is a lonely world. I'm single. Like I travel. I don't have a partner because like it's hard to find someone. And I'm one of the most like lucky men there could ever be for dating, right? And my dating pool is 50% of the world. Imagine if your dating pool is 0.1% of 50% of the world. It's just such a like no shit. That's depressing. No shit. The suicide rate is higher. I would like way more logical to go through the confusion and get out the other side and not have like mutilated your body.
So Freebird just nailed it. Trans is Munchausen by proxy.
100%.
I saw another video today, right? That was a mother speaking at like a city council again or school board, being like, I have two of my 4 kids are going through gender affirming care. Like, bitch, you are abusing those children. Get them away from her.
That would be a really interesting study to conduct, is examine how many youth that are trans live in families with more than one trans youth, and do a little statistical analysis on how statistically impossible it is that trans people pop up in clusters, not in an even distribution randomly, as you would see if it was genetic, not social.
You said it earlier, social contagion. And 100%. This could be one of the things we look back and be like, did we really take the people who were crying out for help and like confused or right? And some of these the detransitioners come out and be like, yeah, they started giving me hormones after one meeting.
Oh
like
yeah,
1.5 hour
30-minute
session,
consult.
And they're like, oh yeah, pump them full of hormones. What could go
and
wrong?
Puberty blockers, irreversible stuff. And so, like, just to kind of circle us all back around and wrap it in a bow, I want to be really clear. Like, I don't have a problem with you if you're trans. Like, even like, I bet that if a trans person had listened to what I had just said over the last 15, 20 minutes, they're like, oh my gosh, you're a bigot. You hate me. I don't feel safe. It's like, no, I would hang out with you. I don't give a shit what you do with your adult body. It's like, I might think that like, it sounds like your life is going to be tough. And I have a ton of empathy for that. But like, there's nothing wrong. Like, if you want to make your choices, make your choices. And if you're a kind human, I love you. I don't give a shit. We can hang out. No problem to me. Totally.
I was an old rave monkey back in the day, and this is not like just bullshit, but I'm the dude. If like everybody was ganging up on somebody, like I'm the dude who will step in and break that shit up for you, because like I'm a big mean motherfucker, and like I don't let anybody get picked on, right? So like, and I have real life examples of me stepping in and stopping like people from like harassing and beating trans people. Like I'm not the bad guy here at the phone, but kids alone. And this idea that you're going to pump them full of hormones, right? Like we have 0 understanding about the long-term impacts on people's psychology. Well, no, it's not true. We don't have 0.
So we have a lot of understanding.
They fucking kill themselves at a rate of 70%. Yeah. Right. And they are madly emotionally unstable and have all kinds of like forever problems. Whatever you think you're curing, you are not, period. Like,
yeah. I mean, for me, right from the very first, like whatever, 8 years ago when it first started being a thing, the first thing that set off red flags for me was like, I'm a boy. Imagine I'm a 14-year-old boy and I start injecting myself with testosterone to get jacked like Chris Bumstead. Would you celebrate that? Because that's like 100 times healthier and safer than what's going on with trans stuff. Like endlessly safer.
Right.
And most
PRT, bro.
Yeah, especially most liberals would be like, that's super not good. Bodybuilding's not good. Like, you shouldn't do steroids. It's not good for you. That's toxic masculinity. It's like, that's like totally way, way, way healthier.
But
and we understand that quite well.
I think we said this in episode 1. The gym bros know, bro.
The gym bros know, bro.
Straight up. Like they've been fucking with this shit for a long time. And there's a reason, like, that they know about roid rage, right? That there's a reason they know about some, like, when you do this stuff, there are somewhat predictable and definitely insane, like, side effects, period. It's wild, but shout out to Trump for banning, like, that for kids under 18. I can't believe it came to that.
I mean, so really quickly, he's been there's a subtle pattern that we're seeing in what he's doing that gives me a lot of hope. And it's this pattern of decisive action designed to be temporal. And what I mean by that is that, like, he's doing a lot of executive orders that are like, stop all communications between these departments until I do something, or terminate all funding for this thing until we do that. Pause that, do this right now. He's like, it's the kind of urgency that I would expect from someone that understands the severity of the situation that we're in. And in Trump presidency number 1, it did not feel like there was any sort of like, it would be like getting on InfoWars with Alex Jones with someone who feels like they don't understand the InfoWar. And now we've elected this dude who gets on InfoWars, and it's like, and he comes in and he's like, this dude is fucking pro at InfoWars. And there's been a lot of subtle things that Trump has done in his first week or so of executive orders and all the other things that, to me, makes me feel like he understands the stakes, and that is really refreshing.
So I read it. I can't remember who wrote it, but I read this today. I think the difference might be Elon, and hear me out on this.
All right.
Elon's famous for going into companies, pausing everything, like kicking like when he bought Twitter, he came in, he fired like 90%. They had to call back like 5% of those. Be like, actually, bro, like, I know I told you were a worthless scumbag like a week ago, but like, here's some extra money. Like, could you please like keep the network going? Because like, turns out you actually are like important. But like, his kind of MO is to go in, freeze, and then evaluate, right? Take inventory and then make changes. And I've been mostly, with some exceptions, right, like, really happy about the direction that Trump is going. And what I like, though, is it's real leadership, which is like, for me, I have heard from these lying sacks of shit for so long that that's impossible, Dustin. We'll never secure the border, Dustin. You can never get rid of them. You can never bring them.
Gotta be realistic.
It's just not possible, dude. Trump's been there for like a week, and like, borders shut down, people are self-deporting, and the criminals are going back. Dude, the Colombia thing. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, dude. It took him less than a day.
Good. My favorite were like the Krasenstein right, like, level influencers who are like, we ruined Valentine's Day. Like, we get our cut flowers from, and then like less than an hour later, it was like, oh yes, I will send my presidential plane to come get them. I'm very sorry. Like, whatever you need. Fucking amazing. But
I mean, it's really striking how powerful Trump's presence is overseas, just in all areas where you like there is a ceasefire in Gaza right now. Like, that's crazy. And there's what, $550 million worth of condoms? What was it, the number that I got?
$50 million.
$50 million worth of condoms. money laundering. Hello, money laundering.
No, they just need a lot of. They're very busy in Gaza.
Like what the fuck? But anyways, yeah. We don't need to talk about Gaza all night, but like Trump's influence to get that shit done, this impossible. I mean, obviously it's not over yet. There's a lot left to do, but like he's just come in and just. I can't wait for him to deal with Ukraine because that's coming soon and fast, and that's like.
Listen. I do have some info on that. So I was I have good ins in like foreign policy circles from when I was young and brilliant, and so like I still have a lot of
I feel like that's the next episode. We have to do an intro of you and of Kyle so people know who you are because I don't think people know who you guys are. For now, we can keep mysterious, but like. I think people are here thinking that like I'm the star of the show and they have no idea what's going on here. But anyways.
No, we all have like levels of like crazy background stories. But
this game.
I have heard that Zelensky has already agreed to like giving up some of the land and that like imminent end to the killing.
And I don't doubt it one bit.
One of the things that like really endears me about Trump, and again, I've been really pissed at him in time. Like I'm not somebody who's like, oh yes, he just walks on water, right? But one of the things that has really endeared me, he genuinely cares about stopping the killing of people.
Yeah.
Period. 100%. He is genuinely anti-war.
Yep.
And it's
and not even for like vapid or like political reasons, so to speak, but rather just because like it's just him. It's just like duh. It feels very human the way he thinks of that, right? It doesn't feel scripted.
100%. It's genuine and authentic in a big way.
And now while we've got this up, I'm just gonna say like I am a big believer that Melania has and does play a huge role in that. And I think the history books will look back on Melania as an extremely significant, like one of the most significant first ladies in the history of our country. I think that's my hot take of the term. Right?
Bro, she is ageless. And I love the conspiracy realm. It has been hot and heavy that Melania is Q.
Dude.
And like,
I'm on that train.
They are not terrible takes. They are right. Like they're not the craziest things I've seen on the internet this week.
She's been around.
No,
holy moly.
Oh, the Romanov. You know the Romanov. Yeah.
I do, although I haven't actually dug deep in it yet. So this is me committing to us all that I will dig into the Melania Romanov.
So good.
Hole a little bit and see what I can figure out. But I just really quickly want to point out we're getting close to the end of our show today, and we have going on 200,000 people tuned into Club MAHA right now. Kyle Kemper with the pineapple, Dustin Stockton holding it down. I'm on the road traveling. I'm in a new Airbnb every week. It feels like right now,
guys. We're closing this down right now.
Not just well, we're approaching it. We're going to do some.
All right. Well, I want to before we close it down, I just want to recap and say I'm really grateful. We shut down this party tonight. It was incredible, and I want to we have covered so much tonight from regards to Bobby Kennedy, from the hearing, from everything. But I want to put out a request and a challenge to everybody to participate. This is an evolving, experimental thing. As you can see, this ain't no Joe Rogan podcast in terms of full value production. We're just making it happen. This is a couple free men talking freely. We have Jessica Reed Krause, who's going to be joining us on the regular as well. She's committed. But I would like
commitment from her.
Oh yeah, she's down. Dude, she's totally down. This is the stuff. This is authentic. This is authentic action. So I've got here's the request of the community, and the challenge, which Ian, I hope you will iterate, is guys, create
offer some memes about what we're doing here with the Club MAHA podcast. Let's like memify what we're doing. Let's penetrate the global cultural zeitgeist and make this three men talking something real deal. And as a reward, next week, simply tag at MAHA at join Club MAHA.
Tag the Club MAHA account.
Yeah, tag join Club MAHA account with a post with a meme representing whatever MAHA means to you, because it means something different for everybody else. So make memes, tag MAHA. We're going to announce a bunch of hat winners, and we're going to give 1 million tokens to 10 different people next week. So 10 million MAHA tokens are going to go out to people next week, and 10 hats, make America healthy again. Let's just give away some stuff. Let's celebrate. Let's create an incentive loop towards this. We are just exploring. We are creating. I will literally send one of these. Look at this gorgeous high grade.
What's that?
Polyester golf towel / scarf.
Hey.
One of these are up for you guys. Let's go.
And worth noting too that from the pool of people that start getting involved in Club MAHA and making memes and posting and interacting, like, we will also be bringing on special guests in the future to speak on specific topics or about the big picture, whether that's because you're an expert or a content creator or just because you're a regular person who has an opinion. We'll be doing all kinds of collaborations and bring people into here over time too. So
really. So love the giveaway. Get yourself some MAHA, right? But listen, I want to shout out Cheney, who we brought on as producer.
Cheney's in the background right now, making it happen.
Every week it's getting better. And shout out,
Cheney, come on board real quick. Show everybody what's going on.
Cheney on up here.
Cheney, get in here.
Come hang out with the crowd.
Cheney, oh, you're
yeah.
Hi.
Yep.
I always make it so that it doesn't get too masculine or too white. You guys can kind of talk about the whole trans agenda without being called, because I'm always a token patriotic lesbian in the background.
Let's go.
I got another token patriotic human right here too. I'm sorry, I wasn't allowed to show her. She's gonna be ruined. Got him. This is our crew. We got this is like the ultimate. We have so many great people in this, and let's highlight and let's celebrate. And we're doing this every week on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. is the cadence we're setting. And there might be some special episodes now and then. Whenever Ian gets the feeling, or Dustin gets the feeling, or I get the feeling, we might just throw together something. Because guess what? We can, because we are the media now. And all of this is done just using the exponential technologies at our disposal. So let's fucking grow, guys. And you're all invited to participate every way you can.
Shaney, I can't think of a better time to roll the outro than that. Yeah. That was beautiful. We'll
I get down to the land of the free America. Life is easy. You can't take this land from me, 'cause I'll send robots to get busy.
Jeff Bezos came, Bill Gates came, Mark Zuckerberg came, many of them came numerous times, the bankers have all come, everybody's coming.
As if we don't expect huge next gains for this land. And I'm endless. I am just purpose-built and designed for this life to be free. Now hold your lovers and proceed.